it's Drybear. Tomorrow is a big day for the First Descendant as the dev reveal stream for Season 2, which is only a few weeks away, will be premiered. So not only do we have a lot to talk about around the dev Q&As and the updates they've been providing us, but there also is a little bit of a sneak peek of the Season 2 reveal that they've already shown. And I'm not sure if this applies to the First Descendant players, but if you're trying to avoid all spoilers before the stream tomorrow, I'll just give you a light warning. So we're diving in 3, 2, and 1. The first sneak peek is that they already put they recorded the video for Season 2, and they have uploaded it to their YouTube channel, and they have set it to premiere for tomorrow, which means that they've already gone through and done all the SEO, the metadata, the description, and they've also put a thumbnail on that video. And what you see on screen is the thumbnail for the Season 2 dev commentary, the reveal for Season 2. So what you're seeing on screen is some new content, and I think there's a lot of speculations as to what is on screen right now. I think the most obvious one is going to be the fellow in the back here, which is most likely one of the 2 new Descendants. If you've been living under a rock or haven't been keeping up with the news for the First Descendant, they have mentioned that there will be 1 Ultimate Descendant and 2 normal new Descendants for Season 2. Now, we learned with Season 1 that this does not mean that they're going to come out right away. It just means that over the course of Season 2, that's what we're going to see. But based on this image here, I think it's very easy to tell that the character in the back is one of the new Descendants. And based on the description of it, we can kind of figure out what's going on as well. And that is, if you go to all of the hashtags that are applied to that premiere video, all of them are just general SEO optimization platforms like PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Unreal Engine, First Descendant. But if you look at the very bottom here, we have Season 2, Keelan, which is very likely to be the name of the male Descendant we see on screen, Ultimate Sharon, Fellow, Void Vessel, and Second Season. So I think we can assume that this Descendant here is one of the new Descendants, and because he's featured so prominently, it's very likely that he will be launching with the season, or will be the first new Descendant added to the game, and likely that his name is Keelan. And honestly, he looks pretty cool, and once someone mentioned that he looks like Mother Milk from The Boys, I literally cannot unsee it. This is basically Mother Milk from The Boys for me now, as Keelan joins the First Descendant roster, which I think is fine. I think MM's character is really cool, and I think he fits in that universe. I will definitely think of him often when I see that character in the game, but it's cool to see that we are getting new Descendants that are at least different from the others, and it's a male Descendant that at least we're filling the universe with more than just Gooner bait. The next thing to talk about is this female on the right side here. Now, based on the general presentation of it, like if I wasn't looking at her face at all, I would say this looks like a skin for Haley. Generally based on her overall appearance, as well as the shoulder mounted technological item on her shoulder here, this kind of reminds me of Haley. However, if you look at her face, like her facial features and the way she looks, at least to me, doesn't look like any other Descendant in the game. I don't think this is Ultimate Sharon. I don't think this is a Haley skin. This looks like a brand new face that we've never seen before, to be honest with you. And this could actually be the second new Descendant. Now, maybe it's just a weird angle, or it is a skin. If this was Ultimate Sharon, one, it doesn't have a weird mask on, so it's probably not an Ultimate character. 2, it's a little more tame and less goonery than an Ultimate Descendant, so it's probably not Ultimate Sharon in that. It could be a Haley skin for her as well because of the item, but I think just generally my gut tells me that along with this, that these are the 2 new Descendants that we're going to get. We're going to get Mother Milk, and then we're going to get the Captain from Prometheus as an option here for this, or maybe like one of the characters from Gantz that are just in those tight black jumpsuits fighting off monsters. So I think these are the 2 new Descendants that will be coming into the game, but let me know what you think down below. The next piece that we get from this thumbnail is going to be the wonderful pupper down below, just behind one of the developers here. And we knew that pets or companions were coming in with Season 2. They had teased a lot about this, even in Season 0 and all throughout Season 1. There's even items that are in the game now that kind of reference maybe being able to collect like eggs and incubate them, or some things that we could do with that. So this is very likely to be one of the pets, or maybe it's tied to Mother Milk back here. Maybe like one of his skills summons dogs. Maybe he's a dog trainer or a dog breeder or something, and that's part of it. But very likely this is going to be one of the pets. And I'm actually kind of excited about that. Based on the realistic art style of the First Descendant, I think they could do really well with companions and pets, and they could probably just have a very wide variety of very cool pets, animals, creatures, robots that could really fill the universe with really fun items. And I think they could also make these companions make the gameplay a lot better if they're able to do monotonous tasks for you, like unlocking things, picking up items, that sort of thing. And bringing it back to this, Void Vessel is another thing that might be worth investigating. I wonder what Fellow is. I wonder if Fellow is the character depicted there, the female. Maybe this is like a Death Stranding situation where their name is Fragile, but I'm not that fragile or whatever, right? Maybe Fellow is her name, Keelan is the guy in the back, and then the Ultimate Sharon is what's going on. But I doubt that any of these, that like Ultimate Sharon would be put here if it's not the next Descendant. Honestly, I'm like excited and a little bummed by the fact that we're still not getting any Ultimate male Descendants, a Blair, an Enzo, a Jaber, something along those lines. Getting three female Ultimates in a row with Valby into Freyna into Sharon is kind of a bummer, but Sharon's one of my favorite characters in the game, so I'm actually pretty excited to see what they do with her. And they also hinted at doing a rework for her as well. Another thing worth mentioning is they did add, like a couple weeks ago, a dev Q&A tab to their main Discord. So if you go to the First Descendant official Discord, there is a tab in there for dev Q&A, and it's been popping off. They've been answering crazy amounts of questions and confirming things. I'm not going to go through 3 weeks or 2 weeks worth of constant Q&A, because like I would like to see a lot of these fully confirmed or fleshed out in a full release, but let's cherry pick some of the most important ones so that at least you're caught up and ready for the stream tomorrow. I'm just gonna try and rapid fire through as many of these as I can, the ones that at least have some substance to them. The first one is that there is a planned rework for Valby. This was kind of on the fence for a little bit. They were talking about maybe rework her, maybe not. And a lot of people have said that Valby is just a situation where she should be as powerful as a Freyna or as a Bunny or as a Lepic or a Haley, but she's just kind of a little bit murky in that area. So hopefully the rework isn't massive. I generally like Valby's kit, but there is a planned rework and balance adjustment for Valby coming. The sad news is that there is no new skin for Ultimate Valby at the moment. Considering how many fans there seem to be, he'll add a request. This is the PD, the production director. I'll have to request adding it to the production list. There's also a mention of adding in a higher fidelity option in the settings. This would then, they're tentatively calling it cinematic, and this option will require enthusiast level machines and is intended for players with top tier hardware, such as those using RTX 4090 level systems. So basically current gen or just at the very end of the last gen hardware that can run this. I think this is gonna I think the game already looks great, and I think adding another level on top of that is just gonna be wild. The big news item from yesterday that has already spun a bunch of different posts and discussion from other people and gamers alike is this major announcement from yesterday. After a lengthy discussion with the art director today, a decision has been made to add the much requested jiggle physics. So the Gooners have won. They're adding in jiggle physics. What this means is that they are going to try and simulate the effects of gravity as it pertains to muscle and body flesh on characters, so that as they move and jump and slide, that gravity will have a more realistic effect on their body parts. This was decided only a short while ago, so the details of when and how it will be implemented in the game are yet to be finalized and will be shared in future updates, which has gone a wide range of responses. I think in general, most of the TFD community is in favor of this. A good portion of the TFD community couldn't care less, and there is a portion that is very upset with the idea that this is being prioritized or even being added to the game. If you recall, there were some early skins that had a lot of loose clothing, like the schoolgirl skins that had the skirts and the jackets. In one of the hot fixes they had for Season 1, they added in more physics to those cloth items so that as you jump and move, they catch wind and move around. This was a big change for some people, and this is going to be another level added to that, as this will apply to more than just cloth. Because this sparked such a big debate, the production director had to talk a lot about what they were talking about here. And we won't know fully until they actually implement this into the game, but he went on to say that they are not cherry-picking jiggle physics to add to the game. What they're doing is they're looking at the realism of the game overall. I mean, you could definitely have this as a public perspective of, yes, of course, we're not just trying to make the game more of a Gooner game, and they're trying to look at everything across the game and where they can add fidelity. And honestly, because they are adding the cinematic quality level, they probably are looking at it, especially if you're looking at it as an art director, you're probably trying to make the game more realistic, but there's obviously a Gooner element applied to this. I don't think anyone could look at the First Descendant and say that there isn't some more carnal, primal representation in the First Descendant that is a drawing factor for the game overall. So they are going to be adding jiggle physics everywhere that they can, things that make sense. They said they're not going to be doing it in one specific spot, but they're going to do it where it applies well and they think looks good. And based on many discussions and requests from players, it says they are reviewing an on-off option for the jiggle, where if you decide that you don't want to have the bouncy bounce that's going to be happening inside of First Descendant, they'll be considering adding an option that allows you to turn this off or not, though it's not fully confirmed this is going to be functionality they will add to the game. There's also another comment about how they're going to make it so that you can progress a Descendant and transfer that progression from the normal Descendant to the ultimate stage. Again, they haven't given us the exact details, and they reaffirmed that here with this response. The exact method and timing are yet to be determined, but they are going to be able to transfer some aspects of regular Descendant growth to an ultimate, so that if you invest in a normal Descendant, you'll be able to transfer some of that to the ultimate Descendant. Hopefully, honestly, all they really need to do is just transfer Catalyst and the Activator. Even if it's just Catalyst, I'd be happy with that, because I feel like if you put a lot of time into TFD, activators aren't really a major blocker, and neither is XP. It's really just the catalysts that are the biggest limiter. Another interesting discussion is around the rollout schedule for Season 1. I think a lot of the hardcore TFD players, especially those that started with the launch of the game in July, had gripes with how Season 1 was handled. They announced all of the content at the beginning of Season 1, but only released a small subset of that announced content at the beginning and slowly trickled it out, which felt like you were just waiting for new stuff that you already knew was coming but wasn't really in that line. So in response to this, Lee says that we plan to roll out a concentrated batch of content on the first day of Season 2 with regular updates scheduled throughout the season. Rather than seeing this as a split updates, we'd like you to view it as additional updates. So it's very possible we'll get a large chunk of content in 3 weeks for the launch of Season 2 on December 5th. So the very beginning of December, right before Path of Exile 2 is when we're going to get this update. Releasing all the content only on the first day of a 3-month season wouldn't be ideal either, but they want to make sure that the first update is great, and then they kind of have additional updates that aren't part of that announcement that still feel like new surprises are coming throughout the season. Another crazy note from the responses to the Q&A is that they plan to have the optimization condition for reactors that have even at the highest, the ultimate level reactors, they will be adjusted from specific weapons to weapon types, which is how the purple reactors work, which at least in my mind is kind of wild, because that means that getting the right mount that you need for a reactor is light work. It's very easy, because now if all ultimate reactors are just weapon types like assault rifle, hand guns, hand cannons, that sort of thing, and you can implant multiple that can trigger all at the same time, you could do assault rifles, machine guns, sniper rifles, and then your weapon mount is on all the time. So they expect it to significantly reduce the burden of meeting optimization conditions. This is an understatement. It's going to make it significantly easier. They also confirmed that you will be able to mix and match the visuals of the base Descendant with the ultimate Descendant. So if you wanted to do ultimate Freyna with the default Freyna head, or you wanted to do ultimate Valby with the ultimate Valby head but the default body, you'll be able to do that. They're allowing that, like that previously was a big barrier. They're going to ease up on that and allow you to mix and match the two. Another huge bombshell is that with the December update, they plan to make it so that all amorphous materials that are currently Outpost exclusive will also be earnable inside invasion missions as well, which means that you won't need to go to an outpost and be stealth Sharon to get those. Their goal here is to make it so Sharon is no longer essential for farming, and we plan to carry out a full rework of the outpost afterward. But at least with Season 2, what they want to do is they want to make it so that all the outpost exclusive amorphous materials, I'm guessing, will still be in the outpost, but now will also drop from invasion missions. And I think they're kind of doubling down on the fact that people really like the 400% infiltrations and just doing invasion missions rather than sitting in an outpost, waiting a minute or waiting 30 seconds now with the latest hotfix and just going back in over and over and doing it until you get it. Along with making it so ultimate reactors will have just a general weapon group setting for their mounting conditions. They're also going to be extending the reactor enhancement up to level 5, which means that not only can you get easier stat focus and as well as the mounting condition on your reactors, but now you can get 3 more levels of making them stronger, which will increase the skill power on them as well. So hopefully as we go into season 2, this gives us a pretty nice power spike, and the grind is a little bit more linear in that you get the stats that you want on the reactor. That's probably the hardest part. Then you can very easily set up the mounting conditions, like super easily with this new change, and then you can start working on upgrading it all the way up to level 5, which, knowing them, it's probably going to be incredibly expensive on the gold front, maybe even a Kuiper edition, and possibly a lot of materials as well, but it gives us at least more of a linear grind to getting that perfect reactor. They also mentioned that they have worked on a maskless version of Ultimate Freyna, so the white or gray ponytail coming out of her hair, and they will be adding that in, so it's as a head skin. They are also discussing potentially, like you have in MMOs, where you can toggle visor or toggle helmet on an existing item, but at least in the short term, for people that like the hairstyle of Ultimate Freyna but don't like the helmet or the mask that comes along it, they have created a maskless version, and I'm sure in the next month or two we'll see this come into game as an individual head skin option for Freyna. And lastly, I'll leave it with, they are planning to do some reworks. They say that they like having an existing look on the existing items and characters in the game and refining them and updating them as needed as they go into the future. I think with Freyna, now that we know that Ultimate Sharon is very likely to be the one coming in a few weeks, or at least in season 2, it's very likely that Sharon will get a polish up or an update like Freyna did when she got Ultimate Freyna. So when Ultimate Sharon comes online, she'll have that rework. They've also mentioned potentially reworking or improving Ajax or even Luna, and maybe even some of the other Descendants that really need it. And they've also said that they want to bring up more of the old Ultimate weapons like they have been doing, and they even mentioned Enduring Legacy as a target point of where they want to bring all the ultimate weapons that are not being used right now up to Enduring Legacy's level so that they all can be useful as well. But I'll leave that there because the Q&A definitely has some minor things and some technical aspects on performance and crashes and things like that. But this is going to be kind of like a check-in for season 2. We'll see what they reveal tomorrow. We'll definitely check out the trailer for tomorrow for the season 2 dev commentary coming out. This will be, it'll be up at 7 a.m. Eastern on their channel. And of course, you'll find it on your YouTube feed as you go throughout the day as well. But let me know what you think about all these discussions for season 2 of the First Descendant. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.